You may have noticed a graphic over my shoulder, a picture we showed of our shoulder. It was a mistake early in the broadcast. We apologize for the error. Anyway, welcome back. Bill Clinton sparred with hecklers on the campaign trail over the weekend. One pro-life heckler provoked the former president into taking him on.
I gave you the answer. We disagree with you. You want to criminalize women and their doctors, and we disagree. We want to criminalize women and their doctors. I reduced abortion. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. You can't name me anybody presently in politics that did more to introduce policies that reduced the number of real abortions instead of the hot air putting out to tear people up and make votes by dividing them up.
Well, another heckler was an Obama supporter who repeatedly interrupted President Clinton's speech and confronted him on the rope line. The heckler, his name's Robert Holman, engaged President Clinton for a good amount of time. You can see them there. And asked him to stop the bickering between the two campaigns and have Hillary quit the race after March 4th. That's when, of course, the two big races in Texas and Ohio occur. Here's how the heckler described Bill Clinton's reaction.
Oh, the president became very angry. He was very irate. And this is what I can see. They're about to lose. When you're losing, you become almost uncontrollable. You're not able to talk clearly or illustrate your so all this name calling is like the bully in the yard. He can't have his way. He can't get nothing done. He got very heated. I think he even hit me in the face with his hand to back me up a little bit. But the Secret Service got him off me real quick. I noticed that. But he did give me a little pop, and that was okay because I understand his tenacity for his wife.
Wow. Does President Clinton help or hurt Hillary Clinton on the campaign trail? Rick Hertzberg, senior editor and the staff writer for the New Yorker magazine. There he is. Deborah Mathis is a columnist with BlackAmericaWeb.com. Is that the right way to say it?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Deborah, you've known President Clinton. This kind of feistiness, is this his nature? Is this his strategy? Is this what?
It is it is definitely his nature. I don't think there's any strategy. I think he's going just with his gut at the moment. And what we're seeing is him off guard and off message, obviously, as well. I don't fault him so much for taking on the heckler about the abortion because that was interrupting the flow of his speech. But with the rope line, he should have just moved on past that man. I mean, it's unpresidential, it's unseemly, it's time-consuming, and it makes news instead of what he wanted to talk about.
Rick Hertzberg, your views on the president's sort of Frank Sinatra aspect there. I keep thinking of Frank Sinatra because he was the guy, no matter how big he was, if somebody wanted to poke fun or cause trouble with him, he was ready for him.
He and quite a number of his friends, too.
You mean like Jilly Rizzo?
Yeah, those guys. Yeah,
I don't want to put the president in that category, but you know what I mean. The willingness to say, knock this off my shoulder, buddy. If you want to come after me, I'll come after you. That kind of thing.
Yeah, and I guess the question is, would you guys have put that heckler on TV if the president hadn't engaged with him? I mean, when a guy runs out on the field at a Major League Baseball game, the camera cuts away from him. This kind of encourages that sort of behavior, and that was certainly bad for Obama. I mean, it was obviously his campaign didn't put this guy up to it, but that was not good for Obama to have that guy out there and then on TV.
Why? Because
it's rude, it's awful. That's no way to behave. It's terrible. I don't think anybody gets mad at Bill Clinton for yelling back at a heckler. There's other problems with Bill, but that's not one of them.
We can agree on a lot of disagreements here. Deborah, you said that the president should have just walked by this guy, and it was a problem for him to get engaged with a guy who didn't have any standing until, as Rick points out, we put him on TV. Now everybody knows this guy's name.
Right, and I mean, looking at the interview, he's kind of enjoying the attention, I would say, to say the least. I hope it will not be taken as a reflection on the Obama campaign, because I think most people can just imagine, we don't have to be told this, that he was not put out there to represent to the Obama campaign. I don't think
Let's go to a more familiar topic, which is, I'll start with you, Deborah. President Clinton has been very circumspect the last 3-4 weeks.
Good.
To let Senator Clinton be the star.
Good.
And he's been the supporting role, the supporting man, if you will, and has held to the backdrop. He's going to smaller cities. He hasn't grabbed national press. Is this off message?
Well, yeah. What happened over the weekend threw him off message, because once again, he has to remember that although he has a legacy he wants to protect, he has been the president, he is a superstar in his own right, this is not about him this time. As difficult as that may be for him to understand, it really isn't about him. He's supposed to be the supportive role, not the co-role. We're not looking for Clinton the sequel. I mean, he needs to treat it like it's a whole different presidency and somebody that he supports. Obviously, everybody understands that he's going to be the most ardent supporter because he's her spouse. But by the same token, he keeps talking about what he did as president. I did this. This went down. That changed. You know, what is she going to do?
Very hard to hide Bill Clinton. Here's President Clinton over the weekend responding or taking on the Obama campaign. Rick, you respond to this.
There are two competing moods in America today. People who want something fresh and new, and they find it inspiring that we might elect a president who literally was not part of any of the good things that happened or any of the bad things that were stopped before. I mean, the explicit argument of the campaign against Hillary is that no one who was involved in the 1990s or this decade can possibly be an effective president because people had fights. And we're not going to have any of those anymore. Now, if you believe that, I got some land I want to say.
This is such a direct campaign between different views. I mean, between Obama's oratory and lift and the President Clinton and Hillary Clinton recognition over and over, and case they're making over and over that we live in the real world. We got to go back to it.
Yeah, it's unseemly. And he says Obama wasn't part of the good things that happened in the 90s, and he wasn't part of stopping the bad things. Well, he wasn't part of the bad things that happened in the 90s and encouraging and stopping the good things during the 90s. He wasn't Bill Clinton, and he wasn't Hillary Clinton. And I think that the president is doing his wife damage here. I know this is totally virgin territory. We've never had the spouse of a recent ex-president or any ex-president running for president before, and nobody knew quite how to handle it. But I think it's become apparent by now that the Clinton campaign would have been better off with Bill doing a front porch campaign and not getting out on the road. I guess they wanted him out on the road because that was 2 for 1. That way they could, she could go to one state, he could go to another, but it does not seem to have paid off.
It's almost like Moses saying, I'm going to run for Pharaoh instead of getting out of here. I mean, it's a totally different proposition that he's offering. He's saying, let's clear the channel, let's start over again. And Senator Clinton saying, I want to run for president to fill the shoes of George Bush and my husband. I'm going to do a better job than the current president. It seems like they're running for different offices.
Well, I sympathize with them for this reason. As Rick says, this has never happened before. So we haven't figured it out. They haven't figured it out either. We still don't know exactly what he should be doing and what anybody, if it were the reverse.
Well, is this a preview of what it will be like with him in the White House? What's he doing there?
Look, I can't...
I mean, what should he be doing there?
I can't imagine for 1 minute that Bill Clinton is going to be maybe a silent partner as far as we're concerned, but not silent literally. So he's going to be quite active.
He'll be out of the news? Just guessing. Rick, do you think the president it's an insufferable, hopeless situation to try to convince people that we want more experience in the government? We've had 35 years together. We want more, but yet it's going to be different, and yet we're the change agents. What do you do? How do you do this if you're the Clintons?
It's just a totally hopeless muddle. But what he should have done, it's easy to say this now, we're almost in retrospect on this, but he had kept very, very quiet and in the background, hardly a peep from him. Maybe write a letter to the editor once in a while or an op-ed piece. That would have given people an idea of, well, this is what the second Clinton administration is going to be like. Bill's not going to be a lot of trouble, but he'll be back there very quietly helping out. Yeah. But they've put out a model of what the Hillary Clinton administration is going to look like. That's just crazy. It's just all over the place.
It is revelatory.
He's driven down his mystique, I think, just showing up kind of everywhere.
Rick, you and I, when we worked together, remember how hard it was for speechwriters to come back from the past and try to write? It's almost phenomenal politics, that it's always changing. And the minute you get out of the business for even a couple years like President Bush, President Clinton, you don't quite click when you come back. Anyway.